Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
'Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. There's still time. The AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam territory of the University of beautiful British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Zachary Eisenheimer.
How good is it, Zach, to live in the part of Canada where our temperatures are in the pluses, because it looks very cold all over the rest of Canada. Just normal temperature, wind chill. This is why you moved from Saskatchewan and Ontario west, isn't it?
It's definitely a benefit.
Yeah. Well, stay safe, everyone. Keep up wrapped up nice and warm. And we are going to warm your cockles over the next few hours with this episode of the show. As I said in last week's show, Zach, your 3-hour escape from all the horrible things that's going on in the world, not knowing that it was just going to get even worse in the week since then. But
it's crazy. I mean, it is. It's a crazy time to be alive.
It's a scary time as well, I think, in general. It's like the Greenland thing dies down for now, and you're like, okay, we're maybe going to get a week of like normality. No. And if anyone is listening to this out Minnesota, Minneapolis way, just stay safe out there as well. It's horrible stuff that's going on. We won't go into it because we want to try and be your escape, as I said about that. Although something we're going to talk about in the introduction is going to be tied into that. We're recording this on Sunday, the 25th of January. It's Burns night, Zach. Have you had your haggis?
No.
We actually had it yesterday.
I've never had haggis, and I don't know that I ever. I'd say I'd be willing to try it once, but yeah.
Well, we had some haggis yesterday, so it was delicious. Whenever I think of Burns night now, though, I can't help but think of Darren Mattocks. Old throwback.
Oh my, Michael.
And I mean, it's been sad this weekend as well, because Friday, season 4 of the UK Traitors wrapped up.
Oh, don't tell me, because I'm still
not going to tell you anything about it, except of everything that we've watched so far, which admittedly is still not a lot, best series of the lot. It's absolutely superb from start to finish. And if anyone's been watching it, DM me. I'd love to chat to some folk about it, but I don't want to have any spoilers on the show about it. So, yeah. But, yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about in this show. We'll talk about the brief Whitecaps news and rumours I'll put in as well of the week. We've got a couple of feature interviews to bring you. Our first 2 feature interviews of the year. Ralph Priso and Oliver Larraz are going to be coming up in parts 2 and 3. We're going to be doing our Canadian soccer A to Z in part 4. We'll talk some CPL and the implementation possibly of the new offside rule in the league this year. We'll bring you some great music as well from our Artists of the Month television personalities. Continue our 40-year tribute to the C86 cassette. We'll have some other fun chat along the way. Before we get into all of that, how has your week been, Zach?
Fun week. Yeah, good week.
You went for, I was going to say full.
Yeah. I mean, it was that. It always is that. But no, yeah, a really, really good week. 2026 has been a lot of fun. Like very busy, like more busy than a normal January. But I just have a bunch of things on the go, a bunch of things where I'm tying up some loose ends, and a bunch of things trying to get ready for the summer. So, I mean, trying to get ready for the summer. By that, just to clarify, by that I mean posting as much stuff as I can on Marketplace to have money to do stuff for the World Cup.
Oh, not your beach bod. Oh, okay. I thought you were
No,
hitting the gym. You were getting into
no,
your budgie
no,
smugglers
no. But I mean, yeah,
for the
I.
calendar shoot.
This is not impressive, but I've never been. I have. It's been like 3 or 4 or 5 years since I've been this light as well. Yeah, lots of selling on Marketplace. Lots of Lego. Lots of Lego. Although my wife has sold a bunch of stuff too, but that's not Lego. But
That's her only fan, so we won't go into that.
oh my goodness.
I keep saying to Caitlin, look, if we want to get this house, get your feet up to scratch.
Oh
Get on
my goodness.
OnlyFans. We'll be rolling in it.
No.
I've got a nice song coming up that I'm dedicating to my wife at the start of part two, though. Just to win her over for all the horrible things that I say to her in the show. But she never listens to the show, so it's okay. So yeah, if anyone has got any Lego requests or is interested in buying Lego, shoot Zach a message. I mean, if anyone wants to buy any old East Fife programs,
Oh
get in
yeah.
touch with me as well because I'm having to decide what I
I
want to do with those.
I haven't posted. I do have a ton of old football stuff that I will be posting at some point too. Yeah, like a ton, including programs. But those are not really valuable. But I need them.
Yeah.
I need them. I need them to update my footballogy. Those like Ian who've been watching footballogy, you've seen you've seen me come into batches and troves of my old match tickets that have increased the number of matches I've attended. But I'm still those early days, like 2003 to 2000, I don't know, 7, 8. I still have a lot of games or a bunch of games in there to input.
Yeah, once I start going through some of my programs, I'm going to hopefully log them on that as well. So yeah, I mean, you talked about wanting to get ready for the summer, of course, the World Cup, which I think is still going to happen. I was questioning it with the whole Greenland thing, I've got to be honest, because it did feel, oh, there's some war or some skirmish or something looming, and could the World Cup be in jeopardy? Now, I don't know if you've seen the stuff this weekend, though, Zach. There's been growing calls over in Europe to boycott the World Cup, and it's been very strong in Germany. A member of the DFB came out and said it. A player from St. Pauli came out and said it. Fans have been doing it. There's been a petition in the Netherlands that got, I think it was 114,000 signatures that the Netherlands should boycott it, which the Dutch FA have said no, at least for now. But it does seem to be growing. But it's one of those things, I hate to say this, but it seems something that's never going to happen. The fact that the last two World Cups went on in Qatar and Russia,
Mhm.
and folk raised all the various concerns about human rights issues and everything there, and they still went ahead. I don't know what it would take to boycott a World Cup, but I've seen a lot of folk talk about it this weekend. I can't help but think as well, just because I was watching a documentary last week about the Nazis, like the 1936 Olympics. It was like a big showcase for Hitler and the Nazis, and it feels like this 2026 World Cup is going to be the same for Trump.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are horrendous things going on in the world at this time. We've talked lots about how various elements of what's happening in the United States are cause for people to not want to be there. They don't; those issues don't stand alone. I mean, we've talked a lot about FIFA's issues in terms of just choosing to make this a World Cup for more so for those who are well off or who are
Hmm.
willing to afford it or put their lives on credit or whatever to make this possible. And yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, there are lots of people like I mean, told you, some of Flo's buddies have yeah, have altered plans. I mean, some of them are only going to come to watch, the DFB games where they can get cheap tickets and maybe a few other Category 3 games and a few of them, they want to, just maybe get a few stadiums for their ground hopping lists and whatever. But even Flo is like, yeah, I think I might go home after the. I think he has a flight booked. I think for the. I don't know if it's flight. Yeah, I think he has a flight booked for like after the quarterfinals or before the quarterfinals. He's like, if Germany go on, I might stay, but I might not. It's weird.
It is, and it's like focusing like boycott it. It's like don't boycott it. Put the pressure on to have more games in Canada and Mexico. If you really want to put the pressure on, don't boycott the whole thing. It's like we don't deserve to lose out in World Cup stuff. But I've also seen the pressures getting raised a little bit on Infantino. There's more folks starting to call that he should stand down. The Peace Awards not sitting well at all with everything that's happening. And yeah, you wonder like what future might lie in store for him after this World Cup. Because somebody that is getting mentioned a lot as a future FIFA president, we're going to talk about in part 4, which is Arsene Wenger. It just feels like every week that goes by, there's another big scandalous style story that you can tie in with the World Cup. And 5 months to go, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. Based on, like you said, these previous two World Cups, nothing's going to stop them from going ahead. I also think the whole changing venue things at this point is very, 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 very difficult for logistic broadcast, a whole bunch of, a whole variety of reasons. Like the financial issues that might cause them.
I mean, I think that it would only happen if the US descends into like absolute anarchy or civil war or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you can go ahead then. So, I mean, it's all pie in the sky stuff. You know what FIFA's like. They're not going to switch.
Yeah.
It's a low bar for them. We don't want to get into too much heavy stuff. That'll be it, really, for this show. We need a pick me up, Zach. Although this could also put you to sleep if you have too much of it. It's time for this episode's Hot Chocolate Boy.
Hot chocolate boy, he's never had one. Hot chocolate bad one. Hot chocolate boy.
The 16th Vancouver Hot Chocolate Festival is in full flow, as is my rising blood sugar level as well. We're back with another Hot Chocolate Boy as we bring you a review of 2 more of the vendors at this year's festival. Both of them excellent, I will tell you that now. Both of them coming highly recommended. So the first one we took in this past week was Gem Chocolates. When it's a hot chocolate festival and it's an actual chocolatier, you can be guaranteed that the chocolate aspect of that pairing with a sweet treat is going to be top notch. And that's exactly what you find at Gem Chocolates. They're based out in Kerrisdale on West 41st Avenue, 2029 West 41st Avenue. And they've got 3 selections for this year's Hot Chocolate Festival, all of them running from January 17th up to February 14th. They're numbers 100 to 102 in the festival guide as well. Number 100 is a Pop Rocks Demon Hunter Hot Chocolate, which features a dark hot chocolate and Pop Rocks and pink cotton candy. Number 102 is a white hot chocolate with durian cream and durian mochi as well, so very exotic. And it's called the Exotic Durian White Hot Chocolate. But the one that we had was number 101, Mexican Diablo Hot Chocolate. If you've listened to our previous Hot Chocolate Boy sections on the show over the last few years, you know I love a spicy hot chocolate in particular. And this one was one of the spiciest we've had across all the hot chocolate festivals. Described as a devil's hot chocolate with hints of chili, cinnamon, cayenne and warm spices, it definitely packs a punch. It's got a really nice heat to it. Now, my wife isn't good with spice and heat, but she thought this was like excellent. It definitely warms your throat. It leaves a little burn at the back of your throat, but a nice burn. And you get the chili, you get the cinnamon coming through and the cayenne. Temperature-wise as well, it was absolutely perfect temperature. I've spoken before, sometimes they come a little bit cold. This was absolutely spot on. You can get it with or without whipped cream as well. The whipped cream, it's not your whipped cream from a can as well. It was really good whipped cream. Didn't ask for too much. I actually wished I'd asked for a bit more. It was that nice in the end. And it's served with a Diablo cookie, which is a chocolate cookie that has flakes of chilies and possibly some cayenne on it as well. But it also packs a little bit of a punch as well. Definitely want to go back there, check out their actual chocolate servings as well, because just looking around the store as we were waiting for it to get made, so many tasty chocolate treats there. It has seating for about 4 people inside, so it might be one that you might have to get to go if it's really, really busy. We went on Friday afternoon, it was very quiet, so we just were the only ones that were sitting in there at first. Price-wise, of their 3 offerings, the durian one is the most expensive at $12.50. The Pop Rocks Demon Hunter one comes in at $12, and the one we had, which we didn't have it because it was the cheapest, but had it because I love these spicy hot chocolates, is $10.75. Very highly recommended. I give this at Gem Chocolates 9.5 out of 10. So the second offering that we had this week, we went on Sunday afternoon, kept local in East Van. It's a place I've wanted to go to for a while. For some reason, I just haven't. And it's called Ma's Milk Bar. They're based on Victoria Drive, 1502 Victoria Drive. They're open 7 days a week as well. And it's just a really lovely, small mum and pop coffee shop, just a local neighbourhood coffee shop. And for the Hot Chocolate Festival, they've got 2 offerings, but they're split over the course of the festival. So this one that we had is the only one that's available just now. It's 148 in the guide, and it's called Mary Had a Little Lamington, which its name itself is fantastic. And the fact, like, this podcast is going to be coming out on Australia Day, I think was very apt to have an Australian treat the day before Australia Day. So it's available until this coming Friday, January the 30th. And it's using the favourite Aussie treat, the Lamington, as inspiration for the whole drink and pairing. It's a dark chocolate, coconut and sponge cake drink, topped with vanilla whip and punctuated with a light raspberry coulis. It's served with a mini Lamington, which, if you're not familiar with a Lamington, it's a sponge cake that has raspberry jam in the middle, and it's coated in chocolate icing and then rolled in coconut shavings. Absolutely delicious drink, delicious Lamington. Highly recommend this one as well. And I'd give this one 9 out of 10. There's seating inside, there's seating outside. Lots of kind of street parking that you can get as well. Cost as well is one of the cheapest I think you're going to find in the festival at just $10. And they've got another good one that's coming out from Saturday, which is a carrot cake one. So we might go back for that, but really recommend this one. It's my second favourite that we've had so far. Mary Had a Little Lamington, Ma's Milk Bar. Check that out. Check out Gem Chocolates as well. And that was this episode's Hot Chocolate Boy.
Every girl yelling, wanting him to be the terror. Hot chocolate boy, he's a sensation. Hot chocolate nation, hot chocolate boy.
So, 2 excellent visits I've had this week with Caitlin, Zach. Thanks to everyone as well that sent in their pictures. It's been great seeing it, the recommendations. Going to check a few of them out. Thanks to Noella as well. She knows what for, so thank you for her. And yeah, keep sending them along, and looking forward to getting out to a couple more.
Nice. Yeah, I saw your wife's posted the photos.
I haven't posted any photos on Instagram yet. I will get round to that in the next couple of days or everything. But I do appreciate everyone that sent There's along it. They're looking yummy. I've been accused of being a bad influence and making people go out and get these hot chocolates because they're not cheap as well. Cheapest one we've had is the one that we had today, which was $10, and a lot of them are more than that. So apologies for being a bad influence. It could be worse. So let's get into some football chat now. Whitecaps news of the week, stroke rumours of the week as well. I mean, there's not been a lot that's come out Whitecaps-wise this week, aside from some Whitecaps 2 signing announcements, which we'll go over closer to the season getting underway. Schedule came out for WFC 2 this week, March 1st. They will be travelling to Ventura County. First 2 games on the road before the first home game at Swangard 2 weeks later, March 15th, against Minnesota United 2. Any updates yet into when the CPL schedule's coming out?
No. I haven't heard anything with that. I know one year it came out at the end of January or early February.
I'm just needing like CPL and League One to come out. The League One BC ones just... There's a lot of things happening in that, including a team dropping out of the league, Evolution FC in Coquitlam, and trying to work out exactly when the season's going to run this year. But we'll come to that when it's eventually out. So at least we've got the WFC 2 schedule now. Hopefully the CPL 1 might even be this week. So no new players added to the Whitecaps this week, but there are some rumours out there. One is of a departure. And at the time of recording this on Sunday, it's basically all but confirmed as 28-year-old Belgian centre-back Jodra Pupa is set to go back to Belgium and joining second-tier side KV Kortrijk on loan for the rest of this season with an option to buy as well. Now, Kortrijk got relegated at the end of last season. They'd been in the top flight for 17 years. They're down in the First Division B division now, where they're sitting second, so they're trying to go straight back up. But we hardly knew Pupa Zach. It's like 2 appearances for the Whitecaps, both in the playoffs. 4 minutes as a sub in that first game against Dallas, where we got the epic...
Booked the referee, yeah.
Yeah, booking the referee. So he goes down in folklore for that. And then... less than successful 22 minutes, I think, fair to say, against Miami in the MLS Cup final. But
that was so unfortunate because, again, I think he was kind of put in a brutal situation. And
he was. Like, I don't think Jesper's made a lot of missteps, but I think not getting Pupa minutes and then throwing him in a cup final was not a great one for him, for his confidence. And I liked him as a person when we chatted with him, but I like his big physical style. I thought he was, out of the 2 that we brought in, Pupa and Schonlau, he was the one I was more excited in seeing. I guess the signing of Mihail Gerasimenkov at left back, the form of Ralph Priso, now considered a centre-back. I mean, it basically has made him surplus to requirements. And at 28, as a former captain of his side... he needs to be playing. Yeah.
And it was always a stopgap signing, right? It was in the midst of, chaotic injuries. And was he not signed before the Priso experiment?
Yes. But he came with a hamstring injury.
Right. So
which he got in his last game.
Which was one of the things that necessitated Priso become a center back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then Schonlow's injury for WFC 2. So, I mean, those 2 signings were just like awful in terms of that. But it is a case of, what if? What if he'd come in healthy? What if he had that start at centre-back? We might never have seen Ralph Priso as a centre-back.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like, again, as much as he, in his very limited time, didn't really impress or wasn't fit enough or didn't do enough in training to secure more playing time or whatever. I think I appreciate the effort that Axel made to fill that gap that was definitely there at that moment. And then 2, I also like that he's now not a guy who's just going to be like here for forever, like Axel's like, okay, what's best for him? What's best for us? The best thing is he goes, it's a loan with an option to buy. It sounds like a very good opportunity for him to go to a team that's soaring in the Belgian second division and likely to get re-promoted after being only down for a year or
And
whatever.
his last team just won promotion, so he's used to playing at that level as well.
Yeah. So hopefully it goes well for him. Hopefully for the Whitecap's sake, whatever the conditions are, or whatever the conditions might be in place in terms of round of the purchase, hopefully those are met, or are not barriers, or the amount is not a barrier, and they can move on, and he can move on, and a very, very, very short chapter in his career will be spent in Vancouver. But I don't begrudge how this all played out, and I think it shows Axel's flexibility.
Yeah, I mean the signing of two centre backs, although he was kind of billed as a centre back, left back, but when I chatted to him, he said ideally his position is left in a back three. So we're not going to be playing a back three. And we've spoken already, there was 7 fullbacks on the books, including him, if you class him as a left back there. But there's just so many centre back options and everything as well. For him, he has to play. He's 28. Your career's short as it is. He liked it here, but this is the best for him. It's the best for the club, and wish him all the best there. Hope he can get another promotion. He can get back to his coffee shop as well. And yeah, it was nice when he was here. He had a good sense of humour as well, and he was always a fun person to joke around with at training. So we wish him the best. So if you remember last week when we played the audio from the first day back at training, Axel had said he hopes to have 3 or 4 new additions still. And it was like, well, if we're going to be making additions, folk are going to have to move on. There's not really spots available. There's no international spots left. So Poopa moving on will free up a place on the roster and an international spot as well. And it looks like 1 player could be coming in, maybe 2. So we spoke last week about the Whitecaps said to be having interest in young Peruvian winger Max Lauren Castro, a left winger, also garnering interest from LAFC. And I wonder if that is now kind of faded, or if LAFC have kind of taken over as the main club that might get him, or if he's maybe looking at a move to Europe or whatever. Because reports came out on Sunday down in Ecuador. Journalist Cesar Luis Merlo and Studio Football reporting that the Whitecaps are in advanced negotiations with Barcelona, the Ecuadorian one, not the Spanish one, for their 21-year-old winger, Bruno Caicedo. And it said that a 4.5-year deal has been agreed upon for the young Ecuadorian to come in to the Whitecaps for a reported fee of around $1.5 million. And he'd be coming in as an under-22 initiative player. He's an under-20 international for Ecuador. 21 years old, just turned 21 in January. Left winger. So I don't know much about him. He is officially down as being a Barcelona SC player, but he hasn't played any games for them. He played for Cumbaya FC, which is a brilliant name, in the second tier of Ecuador, and most recently has been playing for Rennes in the top flight in Ecuador. 31 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. Not sure what to make of him.
Yeah, sounds like another almost like prospect, or like kind of roll of the dice with someone who could have some upside and some potential. We'll be interested to see how this plays out. Obviously, a number of the chances Whitecaps have taken on some of these young players have turned good, but yeah, it sounds like more like a time will tell type one.
Yeah, it looks close from what's been said. So yeah, but we'll see how that plays out. The other strong name out there is another centre-back, which I don't fully get, I've got to say. And I know with the injuries and everything just now, I mean, if you're going to bring in another centre-back, are you not as well keeping Halbuni around? Although, again, Halbuni's another player that needs to be playing. But this is another Pupa-style player in that he's a centre-back that looks like he can play all along the back line. So a Mati Laborda-style player, because he can also play both full-back positions. And it's 28-year-old, 6'1", Greek defender, Stratos Svarnis. That's a wonderful name. Good score in Scrabble as well. He's currently in the Polish top flight with, talking about good Scrabble scores, Rakow Czestochowa. And I find this an odd one. The Whitecaps were interested in him last year. I don't think it's a position we need to rush to fill. And his team in Poland are currently sitting fourth in the standings, 1 point off first. He's played 29 games this year. Every minute of every game that he's played in, he's captained them in a lot of games, including the European games. Why would they be wanting to let him go, for one thing?
The only part of that, I don't disagree with that you're ending there. The one part of that is I still think the Whitecaps with even with Blackman and Priso, I still think they need another, and with Halbuni out, with Ranko not ready till the spring, they do need someone else. Like they
But
do.
there's also Shonlo and
Laborda, I know, yeah. But Shonlo, until I hear or see otherwise, has kind of been described as being too slow for the way the Whitecaps play.
Yeah,
I want to play, which is a concern.
That was my it's not so much slow as much as he's a stay-at-home centre-back, which isn't necessarily bad, especially if you've got Tristan going forward and you've got Matty that likes to get forward and Campo as well. But I haven't seen enough of him because I just got 28 minutes at a WFC2 game. But on that particular day, Mark O'Neill looked the better of the two centre-backs.
And he was with the first team and didn't get a whiff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, no, I totally hear what you're saying there.
Yeah, and sorry, I know Laborda can play there, but it feels like they want him to play wide more, especially until Sam's back. I saw Sam. Where is Sam right now? Is he in Spain?
He's in Spain. So Ranko. So they've gone with him to Marbella.
Yeah, because I saw Sam posting like him like running in the heat somewhere, like doing laps or something.
Yeah, I mean they're in full training, and well, not full training, but they're in training. So you've got to hope that he's going to be ready to go sooner rather than later, and it's just whether he can stay healthy. I mean, part of me does see why we need another centre back because of what happened last year. I don't know how it makes sense though for Svarnis, because he's playing at a good level in Poland. He's had 6 caps for his national team, albeit the last one was back in 2021. He's played in Greece with AEK Athens before, and he's playing at a good high level. I don't know that he's going to come in and be a starter, but there is a lot of games to start the season, of course. And you've got the Champions Cup games as well. And if they were interested in him last year, maybe that didn't work out last year, which is why they turned to Shonlo and Pupa. Maybe this is a guy that's going to come in at the end of the Polish season as well, and they're just putting it out there. Or it could be more agent chat. I don't know. But we saw this with the Whitecaps last year. We went very busy until we got into February, and then we made some good additions in February.
I could see a player like this, Michael, seeing MLS as an alluring opportunity, right? He's not like he's young, right? It's not like he's trying to make the breakthrough. He's had experience in his home country. He's had experience within Europe, and maybe Michael too. Maybe just the financial realities of MLS would just be better for him than what is he making in the Polish league.
True. It's an interesting one, and the fact that if this does play out, and not heard anything either way. There was a forward that was getting linked, but the Whitecaps have basically said, "Look, we've never even heard of this guy. I don't even know where this has come from."
Wait, that's not a Polish forward, is it?
No, that's the other rumor. This is your dream, Lewandowski and Mueller at the Whitecaps, Zach.
I mean, yeah.
It's all bullshit, but still, let's just play into it.
No, I know.
We've got audio to fill.
I forget it was an ESPN article or whatever where it had it like his number 1 choice, Chicago, number 2, LAFC, number 3. I can't remember what number 3 was. Was it Galaxy or somewhere? Or maybe it was TFC or something stupid.
But remember this wasn't Mueller's first choice either.
Oh, I know. and then it was like wild card, Vancouver Whitecaps with a picture of Thomas Mueller.
Things just grow arms and legs when there's not a lot to talk about. I
No,
mean, it would be absolutely wonderful, but I mean, we've got Brian White, 54 goal Brian White.
even at this age, Luva could score 54 goals in a year in MLS or like in all competitions for the Whitecaps.
I mean, let's be honest, if that was an addition in the summer, that is a MLS Cup winning squad, or front line in particular, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it already is.
It would be great to hear someone ask Thomas about this, right? Because
It'd be great to have a chat with Thomas. We need to know his chocolate digestive
that's true.
options.
But it would be interesting even just to watch Thomas's facial reaction to that kind of question, even if he wouldn't fully.
Yeah, I don't think I want to be the one to ask him that.
No. What do you think the Whitecaps' motivations would be around signing Robert Lewandowski? Or as you call him, Robert Lewandowski.
I mean, it's nice that we're getting linked with such players, but now, although everyone's saying it's BS and we're laughing about it and poo-pooing it, if a year ago you'd said Thomas Muller is going to come and join the Whitecaps in August, we'd have had exactly the same reaction. So I think now, anything like this, you're like, well, you never know.
I've seen a lot of people say that. They're like, yeah, before Thomas came here, I would have said you're crazy, but now you never know. And that is part of the knock-on effect of, what's happened to the Whitecaps since whatever, August or whatever.
I mean, if Miami can make all these players work in their roster and their salary cap, I'm sure we can. Did you see Miami had a bid for Buanga turned down? 13 million they bid for him.
Wow. They really just we're going around the league being like, we want the best player.
Yeah. Who's the best defender? Who's the best goalkeeper? Who's the best forward?
Did they do that with a midfielder?
Not yet. So Sebastian's going to be obviously next in their list of folk.
There you go.
It's crazy though. How could they have made that work? But then you look at who they've just added, and it's like, how have they made that work?
Sorry, who did they just add?
Well, it's not official yet, but they're meant to be adding Bertarami for $15 million after having that Buanga bid rejected.
Crazy.
And the rumours are that Buanga's really not happy. The LAFC turned down his dream to play with Messi. I would have been quite happy for him to go to Miami, get him out of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
But yeah, anyway, we'll talk more about Miami, I'm sure, in the coming weeks when we kind of do our overall preview. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, I don't think there's a big rush for the Whitecaps to add anyone right now anyway. We want to see how they do in the friendlies that's coming up, because there's 2 now confirmed. I believe they're going to play 4, potentially 5. But they're going to be playing Ukrainian side, FC Policia Zaitamir, on Tuesday, 2:30 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. Then on Saturday, 4:30 a.m. Pacific time kickoff, South Korean side, Incheon United, will be the second game as well. So this is going to be a chance for Jesper, for Axel, all the guys to look at the options. How is Ryan Illumi looking up front? Nelson Pierre, do they need to bring another forward in? How's the defence looking? What should the defence look like? So right now, I don't think there's a big rush for the Whitecaps to have to bring anyone in. But I guess we'll see how they're looking, what's in the works. We'll just see how all of this plays out.
Are those matches being streamed? I know they're middle of the night.
I haven't seen it yet. They've only been announced on the actual Marbella Instagram page.
Okay.
So, I mean, my hope was I was going to go over to Marbella, as I talked about, and then I was going to badger the Whitecaps. Hey, you should stream the games and I'll do the commentary on them. So sadly that isn't happening, which is maybe for the best, because I think my pronunciation of Ukrainian and South Korean players could cause a diplomatic incident, and we don't need any more of those right now. But yeah, we'll see what the next week brings in Whitecapsland. We're going to talk more Whitecaps in the next 2 parts. We've got 2 feature interviews to bring you. The first of them with the man we just talked briefly about there, Ralph Priso. And we'll be back with that after the first of 2 songs this episode from our Artist of the Month.
Hello, my name is Oliver Larraz and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the penultimate song from our Artist of the Month for January, London, a post-punk band, television personalities. That's a single they released in 1987. It was re-released in 1994. The Prettiest Girl in the World. You can find that and all the songs we've played from the band this month on their Some Kind of Happening singles compilation, putting together their singles from 1978 to 1989. It was released on Cherry Red Records in 2019. Check it out. Check out all their other stuff as well in all the usual places. And we've got one final song to come from them this month to kick off the next part. We're going to get back talking football now, back talking Whitecaps, and bring you the first of two feature interviews that we have for you this episode. And 2025 for the Whitecaps as a team was absolutely wonderful season. For many players on an individual basis, it was one of the best seasons of their career, a standout season, a pivotal season. You look at the likes of Tristan Blackman, Defender of the Year, named to the All-Star team. Yohei Takaoka, another MLS All-Star. Brian White, another involved in the US national team setup as he tries to book a spot at the World Cup. Sebastian Berhalter, MLS All-Star, best 11, cementing himself, you kind of feel, as a player that's going to be in America's World Cup squad come June as well. All those guys did well, excelled. You had the young guys breaking through, Jeevan Badwal, Ryan Illumi, players like Matti Laborda, who just Swiss Army knife, really, and could play all along the back line and just excelled and was one of the unsung heroes in a way, although we sung his praises a lot, so not that unsung over the course of the year. Eddie Aracampo out on the other side, really starting to come into his own in MLS. You can go through the whole squad, really, and point out so many great individual performances and so many sort of pivotal performances that you can talk about in the year. And when you're talking about 2025 being a pivotal year for a player and in their career, you've got to look at Ralph Priso. The 23-year-old from Toronto came to the Whitecaps in 2024 after a time at Colorado Rapids that, when we spoke to him last year, he spoke about wasn't his happiest times, just needed to get out of there. Vancouver came in, it was a chance for him to get back into Canada, a player that came through the TFC Academy, played for TFC 3, TFC 2, getting the homegrown deal, playing in MLS for Toronto. And when he first came to the Whitecaps, I think it was a move folk were like, oh, it's just a depth move. It's not the most flashy, the most exciting move that the Whitecaps are going to make. And under Vanni Sartini, Vanni loved him. He started to really come into his own a little bit. But last year, under Jesper Sorensen, he kind of took leaps and bounds. Still, in part, kind of used more on the fringes, coming in off the bench as a sub, maybe playing in the Champions Cup, the Canadian Championship as well. But then, the Whitecaps decimated with injuries on the defensive side, particularly at centre-back. And in a needs-must situation, Ralph Priso thrown in to be a centre-back, partnering Tristan Blackman, partnering Bilal Halbouni, thriving in a position that if at the start of the season you said, come the MLS Cup final, which that in itself, the Whitecaps beating in the MLS Cup final, you'd have been like, what? But in that MLS Cup final, your starting centre-back is going to be Ralph Priso. You'd have wondered what on earth had transpired over the course of the year. But that's exactly how it played out. And Ralph came in, he's 5'9", he's not your biggest player to play as a centre-back, but his ball-playing skills, his deceptive speed, he's a fast player And I don't think a lot of folk actually talk about that. But he has got some speed to him, but he's got a great football IQ. He's great with the ball at his feet. And to me, he's excelled as a centre-back, so much so that he got his first senior call-up to Canada, played against Guatemala, played about 70 minutes in that game during Camp Poutine. Jesse Marsh is talking about how good he is. Joel Waterman, who was training alongside of him, spoke how impressed he was with him. Jesper Sorensen, Axel Schuster have all spoken about how well Ralph has done in this position. And now, it's a World Cup year, he's knocking on the door of that Canadian squad with a chance to go to the World Cup. And he's a multi-positional player, which World Cup squads badly need because you just don't know what's going to happen as the tournament goes on. So it was a great 2025 for Ralph. 2026 has started off strongly. So when we were putting together, what Whitecaps players do we want to chat to? One of the players right at the top of the list, Ralph Priso. So we got a chance to do just that, and we chatted to Ralph in Marbella ahead of the first game that is coming up on Tuesday for the Whitecaps in the pre-season schedule. So go stick the kettle on, grab your biscuit of choice and sit back and enjoy our chat with the Swiss Army knife of the Whitecaps and the Canadian national team, Ralph Priso. Ralph, thank you for joining us for our first chat of 2026. How's Spain for you?
Training's been good. The weather not been great. It's been raining a lot, so
I've been looking because I was almost going to come over and then I decided not to, but I've been keeping an eye on the weather. But I'm sure you're still sending pictures to friends and families back in Ontario going, hey, I've got sun and palm trees. I don't know how you guys are doing.
yeah, it's better than the snow. Better than the snow they have right now for sure.
Yeah, I was just watching a news report on that this morning. It's like, whoa, 60 centimetres apparently yesterday in Toronto.
Yeah, I FaceTimed my mom and she was outside shoveling the driveway and it was crazy.
Ah. So, I mean, you've been clocking up the air miles already to start 2026 down in California, in Spain. I mean, do you feel you've had an off season? It's been very brief, but did you enjoy what you had?
Yeah, maybe not off season in terms of training, but just not having games, kind of just being away from football. I took a week off after the final and then kind of just got back into training, just getting ready for this year.
So, like, we won't go too much into it to last year because I'm always of the opinion, like, what's in the past, and then you look ahead to the future. But I mean, on a personal level, how do you look back at 2025?
It was a good year. I think even before playing center back, I had a positive season on a personal level. And I think the kind of end of the year, kind of bigger contributions just made that even more, I guess, evident or bigger. So I look at it as a positive. Good that I kind of was able to, I guess, put more of a stamp on games on a personal level, and then it's something I just want to take to the next level this season.
You were having a good season, as you said, and then just the last couple of months, you just went
All right.
exponentially, like, bigger. How much do you put down to it being the lucky lederhosen? Was there some magical powers in that pushed you over?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I think Thomas coming has been good for me on a personal level. I think he's someone who kind of plays football with his mind, and so that kind of allows me to just learn and to just kind of pick his brain a little bit when he's kind of just giving me information to kind of see the game in different ways. So no, he's definitely been a help.
I mean, 2025, it could be, when you look back, when you've hung your boots up in many years to come, you might look back at 2025 as just being a pivotal year for you, particularly with the move to centre back. A year ago, if we'd sat here and we talked about you being a centre back, not just for the Whitecaps, but also for your country as well. I mean, what would you have thought?
Um, People ask me this all the time. I never didn't think I wouldn't be able to play center back. I just never thought I would actually do it. So I think kind of playing the position and me doing, I guess, somewhat well isn't really a shock to myself, but I think I never actually thought I'd be in the position to do it. I think that's the most shocking part.
I mean, do you consider yourself a centre back now? Do you still think of yourself as a midfielder, or are you a utility player now?
Um, I just want to be on the field, honestly. Um,
Fair.
Wherever I can be on the field is good with me.
So Ralph, you've played down your transition into that role, and how well you've played there. You've talked about your need to learn and all that kind of stuff. In the past, Michael said to you in one of the post games, I think it was, that he felt that you've excelled there, and that you said you wouldn't necessarily say that. However, do you still feel that way now with, even the call into the national team and playing there for the national team?
Yeah, I still wouldn't say I've excelled. I think I've done well. I've done well. I've obviously done better than most people expected. But I still think I can get better. I think I can get a lot better. In every aspect. I can improve with the ball in terms of the what's the word? The different, I guess, different in terms of the different variety of passes that I play with the ball. I think I can get better in terms of communication, organizing the team. I think I can get better at physical duels, just knowing how to use my body. I can get better at setting the line, reading the game. So I think the positive thing for me is that I haven't done it for a long time, and there's a lot of room for growth, and that's something that excites me.
We were speaking to Joel Waterman about you in the last week or so, another midfielder who has transitioned well to center back, and he was so impressed playing alongside you. He felt that having those ball playing skills as a DM or a CM smooths the transition to center back. Have you felt that?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Not just me, but I think the team, knowing that I can kind of maneuver my way out of certain situations that I guess more typical center backs wouldn't. Um, I think I can just help us start attacks. Not just me, but I think we have Yohei as well, who probably is the best keeper in the league with his feet. And so I think we just have players at the back who are very comfortable with the ball, and that allows us to just start attacks. That allows us to kind of play through pressure at times when other teams step forward, and that just helps us. That just helps the whole team because when guys know that they can trust the guys at the back to get them the ball, they can be patient and wait in their spots and know that the ball's going to come. And I think just all of us at the back do a good job of doing that for the team.
Yeah, and speaking about how the team plays, Jesper is a coach that likes ball playing center backs and goalkeepers, as you mentioned. And so much of the Whitecaps attack, your attack this last year, is about building out from the back. It starts back there with the whole team. So does that just make playing center back even that much more enjoyable because you're not just a part of the defense, but you're also part of building the attack?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously you play no matter what the style or the instructions are, but I think definitely the amount of touches and the amount of responsibility that we have in the build-up is something that I enjoy, I take pride in, and definitely something that makes playing the position enjoyable.
The season that the club's just had, it's it was the most historic season in the club's history. This coming season, there's been a couple of departures, additions. There's probably going to be more coming as well to booster the squad depth. It's hard to improve on the best season ever, but not impossible. What's the mood of the group like just now in pre-season? Because I mean, the new season's getting underway in less than a month now.
Yeah, you say it's hard to improve, but I can think of an easy way to improve, which is to win trophies.
Yeah.
I think that's the next step. I think we probably did everything but that last season. And so for us, it's exciting. I think as a group, as a club, we've seen now what we're capable of. And now the challenge is to make sure that it's not a flash in the pan. And I think that's probably the harder part. The harder part will be knowing that every game we play, every team is waiting for us. And that's exciting. That's I think a challenge that you want. You want to be the team that other teams want to beat. And this season will definitely be one of those teams. And so I think it's on us to not let the fact that we had a good year last year kind of make us more relaxed and more, I don't want to say entitled, but more relaxed and kind of just more and think that it's going to be easy. We have to make sure to be that much more alert to make sure that we take care of every single detail because it's not going to be easy. If anything, it's going to be harder. And I think that's something exciting, and I think it's something that the group finds exciting.
Yeah, because we're going to be a team that other teams are gunning for now because everyone wants top four, never mind anything else, and we're one of the teams that's in that position. I mean, what do you feel, aside from winning the finals, because I know those two losses stung, but what do you feel the team needs to do to take that next step? Where are the areas specifically that you feel, oh, we maybe need to tighten up a little bit there or do a little bit more here? Obviously, staying injury free would be very helpful.
Yeah, it's tough to say exactly what, but I don't remember who this was and what I was listening to. It might have been Brian on something. And he said we dropped a lot of points at home last year, and that makes a big difference when you get to the playoffs. And I think that's something that we're all aware of now. I
Mm.
think there were probably quite a few games that, if we get a point or we pick up 3 points, we play the LAFC game, we play the San Diego game at home, and we play MLS Cup at home. And I think that's something that now we'll be that much more aware of how much every single game matters because when you get to that later part of the season, you want to be playing at home. And I think that'll just make the team know that closing games out in the last 10, 15 minutes is so important because, maybe it's 1 point lost here and 1 point lost there, but at the end of the season, that makes a big difference. And I think that's something that we can and will improve.
Because I mean, if we can do that and become a home fortress at BC Place, 9 of the first 10 games are at BC Place. Now I've joked I'm expecting like 9 wins out of 9, get 27 points on the board. But I mean, if you can go anywhere close to that, that is one hell of a start to the season and points on the board early, ahead of what's going to be some tough road trips as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, the goal every season is to win every single game. And obviously, that's not going to happen. But I think something that is possible to happen is to win every game at home. And so I think, yeah, especially with so many of the games being at home at the beginning, it's definitely going to be important for us to have a good start to the season. And I think everyone here is well aware that, we'll be ready. We'll be doing everything we need to do to be ready for those games, and to take advantage of having so many games at home to try to rack up points.
So it's a big year coming up for the club. It's a big year at international level as well. Like a home World Cup comes along once in a player's career if they're lucky. And some players never ever get to experience any World Cup. Never mind one in their home country, in their home city, in their city that they now call home, in their home stadium. You've had this call up into the Canada team in this camp. Do you allow yourself to dream that you might be there in the summer playing in the World Cup?
Honestly, not really. It's not something that I really think about. Being called in and getting to work with Jesse for the first time was definitely a cool experience. It was something cool. Kind of got to see a different side or a different way that the game can be played, and can definitely take a lot of things that I've learned there and apply them here to become a better player. So that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to and it's something that I'm gonna do. But when it comes to the World Cup, it's not really something I think about. I would say even if I had a quote unquote better shot at making the roster, I still think for anything, especially in football, is the best thing to do is to just take it day by day. Taking it day by day, doing what you need to do every single day, is ultimately what will make the bigger goals happen. And so I'm just focused on preseason right now, on the start of our season, and then whatever happens after that happens after that. But it's not something that I let myself get carried away by.
Although not an official cap, technically, Michael and I consider it to be one. You just played your first game for Canada at senior level. How special was that moment for you? How long have you dreamt of it after last playing on the Canadian kid at U17s?
Yeah, it had been a while since I went to any like Canada camp. So it was definitely special to hear, I'd say to hear the anthem on the pitch, wearing a Canada jersey again was something I hadn't felt in a while. So that was definitely nice. It was also good to just I saw a lot of guys I hadn't seen in a while. A lot of guys that I grew up playing with. Some of the staff I actually knew. So it was nice to see everyone again, to play for Canada, to be at the camp, to learn, and then obviously to get the win. That was nice too.
Jesse spoke very highly of how you played with the Whitecaps and what he'd seen from you in training in California. He's also spoken before about you being on the fringes of the squad and wanting to get you into the group at some point to take a closer look at you. The battle for the final World Cup squad is going to be fierce and intense. With you having the ability to play both midfield and defense, could that versatility be the thing that puts you over the top versus some of the other people you'd be battling with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Picking the squad isn't up to me. Only thing I can do is perform well at club level. I guess do some of the things that Jesse thinks I need to do to improve and to become a better player. And then if I do all that, I give myself the best chance, and then whatever happens, happens. But again, it's just important to just take it day by day. Just focus on myself, focus on the team, the Whitecaps, and then just take it one day at a time.
So you're, of course, in Spain to work hard and to get ready. There's also a little bit of downtime while you're there, I'm sure. Your brother's there just now on trial with TFC. Are you getting a chance to hang out?
I don't know actually. We get like I think we get 2 or 3 days off here, but I take classes. I'm in school. So during
Oh,
those days off, I try to do a lot of school just to like get ahead because it's tough during preseason to actually get the work done just because like you're kind of just in soccer mode like the whole day versus when we're in Vancouver, I can kind of go home and shut off and then work. So I try to take advantage of those off days. So I don't know how much I'll see him. We text, we call. I was just with him in Toronto for a month, so I don't even know if I want to see him right now.
that's true. What are you studying?
I don't know, just something. At first, when I first signed pro, me and my mom came to an agreement that I would do it. So at first it was kind of just a requirement. I mean, now I actually kind of enjoy it. So just taking classes, see see what I want to do when I'm done playing.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time, Ralph. Zach won't say it, but he wants you to go back at VFC. So it's like Zach covers VFC for us and goes to all the games and things. So he loved watching Hugo last year there. So
Yeah, I guess I don't. I We'll see what happens with Toronto. He's there. I guess they'll see what happens after preseason. But yeah, just up to him to figure it out.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you go. Go get some treatment, and we'll see you when you're back in Vancouver. Cheers, man.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Ralph.
Really
Have a good
appreciate
one.
it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Grease your Ralph. Grease your Ralph. Grease your Ralph.
Excellent stuff from Ralph there. Really enjoyed that chat with him. Just full of smiles, really relaxed, just enjoying football, enjoying life at the moment. So I'm really curious to see how this year plays out for Ralph. Come first kick as well, whether in the Champions Cup, whether in MLS. Is the starting centre back pairing going to be Tristan Blackman and Ralph Priso? Everything that's happened, with how well he's played, you wouldn't bet against it. He's a great guy as well, and wish him all the best for the season to come. So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Ralph. We've got another feature interview coming up for you in the next part, this time with the newest Whitecaps edition, 24-year-old midfielder Oliver Larraz, a free agent signing, having previously been with Colorado Rapids when he came through as a homegrown. So that is coming up right after the final song from our Artist of the Month.
Hi, I'm Ralph Priso, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Film stars, the most celebrities that you have ever seen in a week of TV. So I wore my brand new paisley shirt I bought last week in Kensington Market, and I wore my brand new Chelsea boots. I rode it on my scooter, but there wasn't anywhere to park it. And it was some kind of happening, some kind of happening, some kind of happening, some kind of happening. Salvador Dali's garden party. Salvador Dali's garden party.
And I love tremendously money and gold.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's that sad time of the month. We finish our Artist of the Month for January. Television personalities have finished up with their residency, and they've finished it with a song that was released in 1989, the title track from a 4-track EP, Salvador Dali's Garden Party. And that song also features the line, Some Kind of Happening, which, of course, is the name of the singles collection from 1978 to 1989 of the band that we've taken songs from this month. Hope you've enjoyed them. Go and check out all their stuff. Great band, still going strong today. And we'll be back with new Artist of the Month in next week's show. But we're going to get back to the football chat now. And we're going to bring you our second feature interview on the podcast. Yes, pre-season well underway, which means our pre-season chats with the players are well underway. They may have gone to Spain, but they can't escape us. And now we get a chance to sit down and chat for the first time with the newest Whitecap, Oliver Larraz, the 24-year-old midfielder who signed in January as a free agent after finishing up with Colorado Rapids. He was a homegrown with the Rapids, came through their academy, had a spell over in Germany in 2019 with Duisburg under-19s. Talked a lot about Oliver on last week's show. Had spent some time with San Diego Loyal in the USL back in 2021, MLS Next Pro with Rapids too. Then overall for the Rapids first team, 87 appearances, 3 goals, 3 assists. He's now a Whitecap and a very good depth addition to the midfield. So go stick the kettle on again, grab another biscuit of choice and sit back and enjoy our first chat with the newest Whitecap, Oliver Larraz. So, Oliver, thank you for joining us for the first time. Welcome to Vancouver, even though you've just fleetingly been here. How is Spain going? How are you enjoying the trip to Marbella?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's actually my first time here to Marbella, and it's a beautiful place. The weather has been a little bit surprising. It's been rainy and a bit windy and cold, but
Yeah,
uh,
Ralph was complaining about that.
yeah, he's good at that. No, it's been fine for me. Being a ginger, I don't need too much sun, so I'm just getting used to the Vancouver weather.
Hey, I'm the same, or I was when I had hair. So it's like it's yeah, the Vancouver weather, it does rain a lot. You'll get used to that, I'm sure. I mean, you've not really had much time to enjoy the city yet, but you have been to Vancouver before. Rapids first team. I checked to see what games you'd played here. So you have played here. When you were here, like when you're a traveling player, do you get a chance to experience the city, or is it like fly in, hotel, breakfast, game, and then fly home?
I'd say that the majority of trips, it's like that. It's just fly in, game, fly home. But we make sure to make a point of getting out whenever we went to Vancouver because it's such a unique and beautiful city, and we luckily get to stay right in the heart of it when you're an away team. So every time we would make sure to go on a little walk and take a look at the harbor and just, get a bit of a feel for the city. And it was always surprisingly busy, regardless of weather. And it had a very different feel than any other city I'd been to. It almost like a European feel mixed a
Mm.
little bit with Canada. And it was just very interesting place to be.
And I mean, obviously from Denver, landlocked Colorado, but like we've got mountains at least here to make you feel a little bit at home as well. Although nothing compared to the Rockies, really. I know you're also a keen golfer. I was doing a little bit of research on you, so we've got lots of good courses here. So I'm sure you can't wait to get out and try some of those.
Yeah, for sure. That's the first question that Galdi asked me when I came in. He said, "Hi, nice to meet you. What's your name and what's your handicap?" And I knew I knew right away that it was going to be a smooth transition.
That's superb. Well, I mean, I was born in St Andrews in Fife, so the home of golf. So
Oh, yeah,
um,
yeah. Know all about it.
yeah. So I don't play golf despite being born there. So it's something that I know. Worked there for years. Used to spend my lunches sitting at the old course just watching stuff, and it's like never played. So at some point I will. When I retire, that'll be my thing to do.
Well, that's half of golf is just enjoying the courses and
Yeah,
the beauty of it. So you've got half of it down already.
true. So I mean, let's get into your move. I think for many of us here in Vancouver, and by the looks of it in Colorado as well, this kind of came as a little bit of a surprise move. I don't think it had been on the radar. The rumours hadn't been out there. When did you learn of Vancouver's interest, and how quickly did it all kind of play out in the end?
Yeah, things happened very quickly. Obviously, I was going into this year with free agency, and um, yeah, I took a call from Vancouver, and within a week, I think, or even a bit less, I was on a flight to Vancouver.
Wow.
There was just a lot that was talked about in terms of mentality, culture, style of play. I was looking for something new in terms of a city to go to, and when all of these pieces came together, I just thought, what a great opportunity, and also to be joining a team as successful as they were last year, and playing against them firsthand. I realized what a good team they were. It seemed like too good of an opportunity to pass up on, because at the end of the day, I want to be a part of something great, and it
Hmm.
seems like that's what they're building here and have already started to show the progress of that.
You're a Denver boy. You grew up a Rapids fan. You've been in the Rapids system since 9 years old. I mean, it must have been gut-wrenching in part to leave that as well. And I think from a Vancouver point of view, it's always a good sign when fans of the club that a player is leaving is gutted to see the player go. And the Rapids fans did seem to be like that. But I mean, how gut-wrenching a decision is it to have to move away from everything you've basically known so far?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. My whole family is there. My mom's whole side of the family has lived in Colorado for a long time, and I have my best friends there, and I've grown really close with the players on Colorado as well. We've spent a lot of years together, and you realize that those become your best friends because you're spending every single day with them. But at the end of the day, I just looked at myself and I felt so comfortable there every day. It was waking up the same, and I just felt like I wasn't going to be pushed, both off the field and on the field. Of course, the game has difficulties, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been difficult, but I just felt like I was at a point in my life where I needed to take a step forward, and become a bit more of a man, push myself into an uncomfortable position and join something new. So that made the decision a little bit easier because of course, I value family first. So the decision to move away from family is a difficult one, but how many times are you going to be 24 years old and have the opportunity to chase a dream? So I figured we might as well go chase it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about your kind of footballing journey to this point. When did you fall in love with the game? Like, when did you first kick a ball that you can remember? And at what point did it suddenly click with you? I can do this as a career. I can be a professional footballer.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't have a great memory, but I think I've always kicked a ball. I have an older sister, and she was very athletic too, and I think we used to play against each other from a young age. Um, and I don't think it got serious until I used to play junior hockey as well. And I think that when I quit playing hockey and I only focused on soccer, I realized that I needed to take it very seriously because I was giving up something else that I loved. So I was around the age of like 14 or
Mm.
15. So I think that's when it clicked that I should, really start pushing for it and maybe this dream could become a reality.
Oliver, who are the players that you loved watching as you grew up, whether that be with the Rapids or elsewhere? We've heard that you had a nickname Scholesy in in Colorado. Was he one of your favorites? Another great tough tackling, gifted midfielder.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really get to watch much of Scholesy. That nickname was given to me actually by some of the older guys when I first came into the team.
Was
I
it the English guys or the Scottish guys by any chance?
Yeah, it was actually, believe it or not, it was Tim Howard originally.
Oh,
Because I think he had played with him back in the day,
Yeah.
or actually knew him. And then there was a big group of English guys there, a few Scottish, and they just ran with it. And I got really close with them, and they kind of took me under their wing and showed me what it's like to be a pro. So that was good. But in terms of players growing up, I watched a lot of Iniesta. I watched a lot of Kevin De Bruyne. I watched a lot of just central midfielders. Now more Frankie De Jong is somebody that I look up to. Really, I watched all sorts of soccer all over different leagues, and I'm sure there's so many players that I'm not remembering. My favorite player actually was Fernando Torres of all time.
oh.
So I wish I could have been a striker, but unfortunately, we'll settle for midfield.
Oh, that's a good group of good group of players. In 2019, you're 17. You've grown up in Denver. You've played your whole career locally, but you feel a need for something more in terms of your development and growing as a player, and you head off to Germany with Duisburg, their U19s. How did that whole experience come about for you?
Yeah, so it was very similar to what's happening now. I just was at a point in my life where I was like, all right, I need to take the next step. I need to see something new. And it was definitely the hardest like 9 months of my life. I was living alone at 17 in a town that doesn't have a ton of action going on. I cooked every meal. There was one pizza shop that was open, and you learn things about yourself, like you got to go to the grocery store, or else when you come home and you have no food, you're just going to be eating like a bread roll, and you got a game the next day. So it was just some growing up that I needed to do. And I felt like it really helped me with that. And it was obviously difficult. But then when I came back from that, I didn't regret it at all because I think that for me personally, where I grow most is when I'm in those situations that just force you to grow. And so that was kind of the decision to go there. And I met really good people, and I'm still in contact with some of my teammates there. And the football was good too. It was in the U19 level, they have relegation and promotion. So we were kind of fighting to stay up, which was a great experience for me because you realize that development no longer matters and it's all about results. And I very quickly learned the importance of results and how you play your game if you're playing for a result as opposed to playing for a performance. And I think that translates to a professional game because at the end of the day, it's about results. And if you can have a good performance with the result, then that's a bonus. But at the end of the day, the result's what matters.
Mm. So you're in Germany. It's the football culture there is obviously different than the football culture in America or North America. You're with a club with a huge history. You're in an amazing footballing region of Germany. How do you feel it helped you grow and develop beyond the performance and the balance between going for the win and performance? Are there any other ways that it helped you improve your game as a player?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's just, I think anytime you are exposed to a new culture, especially soccer culture, you learn different sides of the game and how to think about it. And the Germans are very exact and, they match the stereotype at times. And I think that was a good thing. I started drilling gym workouts more. I started realizing the importance of each passing drill and I think just focusing on small details.
Of your time in Germany, what was maybe the most meaningful or enjoyable experience when you look back on it? Maybe it was a playing thing, or maybe it was something you got to experience in the football culture there.
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think playing against really, really good young players was cool to see because, they're playing at the highest level already. They've played first team games and just seeing how you match up. I think that might have helped me a lot with self-belief and realizing I'm on the same pitch with the guys who are the next star boy. And I feel like I can play against them. And that's a good feeling, because there's a lot of self-doubt always, and you think, oh, they must be so much better than me. And then you get out there and you realize that at the end of the day, you're still on the same field and you can give them a run. So I think that was probably one of the best experiences with that.
Was it always your intention to come back to the States, or was the pandemic derail things for you a bit, or what led to your return?
Yeah, it was the pandemic. I didn't really have a plan. I kind of was just taking things as they came, and then COVID hit, and we all know what that meant.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Did you learn German? Like, can you sit and have a conversation with Thomas?
Not I learned German when I was there, and I was speaking it pretty well by the time I left. But that was years ago, and I hadn't spoken it since. So I can pick up words, and when people speak it, I can still like kind of make it out. But no, I would definitely not say I can speak German.
Yeah.
Schade.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have explained like Zach is German Canadian. So if we didn't have a time
Okay.
limit, he'd be speaking to you for
No,
hours on Bundesliga. So
no,
Okay.
I'm Canadian with a hint of German. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of him as German. Like I did German at high school, and I think I can speak some stuff. And then I sit down, and Thomas is speaking at press conferences in German, and I've no idea anything that he's saying.
Yeah.
So I can say things, I just can't understand then what they say back to me. So I don't know. But I mean, you
Yeah.
came back to Colorado. You signed a homegrown deal with the Rapids in 2021. Went on loan to San Diego initially as well, under Landon Donovan, like a legend of the North American game. Did you learn a lot under Landon, even if he did want to play as a right wing back for some weird reason?
Yeah, no, I learned right away. It was a good experience and a good system, and uh, I tried to take the benefits of playing right wing back, and I worked on the defensive side of my game. And I think if you, especially as a central midfielder, if you learn to play all these different positions, and I've played almost every position with the exception of center back, I think that you have a better understanding for those positions and what they want and how you can help them. And I also did a lot of crossing at the time, so that helped me. But no, it was a great experience playing under Landon. He's an incredibly intelligent guy. I always say that I remember him as being extremely talented and very gifted on the field, and sometimes the gifted and talented players aren't always the most intelligent, but he brings those both in. And he just tells you things that are maybe not the way that you saw them, which is always great. It just opens your perspective and allows you to kind of see what the players at the highest level see.
When you came back to Colorado, then in 2022, you're in pre-season, you suffer the leg break, it derails your career by a year. I mean, I spoke to Ali Ahmed when he was here in the second team, and he had an injury and was out for ages, and I got to know him, and he spoke about how tough that was because you're trying to make the breakthrough. Has that been the toughest part of your career so far? Did you start to wonder, am I going to make the breakthrough?
I actually think it was probably the most like enlightening part of my career because the injury was very, very bad, and the recovery originally was not good, and I was really close to not being able to play soccer again.
Oh, wow.
And luckily, the recovery then worked itself out, and I fully recovered by the end of it and felt 100%. And that's the good thing about bones is once they're healed, they're healed. It's not like a ligament or anything like that. And I thought to myself, I was a couple weeks away, or maybe a couple instances away from never being able to play soccer again. So I should just definitely take the opportunity of every single day that I train, every game that I play in, regardless of good performance, bad performance, and appreciate it. And I think it took a lot of pressure off of me because, when you're a young guy coming through and you feel like you have some talent and people are pushing you, you feel a lot of pressure to make it because you've spent your entire life working towards something. And if you don't make it, what do you do now? Who are you? There's a lot of those questions, and that's what happens to most people. But at the end of the day, when soccer's done, you're still yourself. That's just how it is. And luckily, I've been put in a position that I get to play soccer. And I think that it just took so much pressure off of me and made me realize go for it every day. And I think that's what allowed me to then break through after that was this release of pressure and finding that joy again in the game, and not being worried about what your coaches think or what the scout thinks or this. You just play your game.
I mean, you came back so strong, you did so well in Rapids 2, then you got 2024, you broke into the first team, and you've never been out of the first team in Colorado since then. Folk will have seen you play in MLS, and they might not have seen a lot of you here in Vancouver because might not have watched the Rapids too much. But when you started out, from what I can gather, you were a 10 in the academy, and then a little bit of box to box. And you seem now, having broken through, that you're comfortable in the double pivot, which is obviously how Vancouver love to play. For Whitecaps fans, what can they expect from you on the pitch?
Yeah, I think that they can expect, first of all, is mentality. I think that that's the thing that I bring the most. I think every time I'm on the field, I'm going to bring the same thing. I'm going to bring energy. And then aside from that, I think technique. So I want to match energy, intelligence, and technique and bring it into a game and play whatever positions and fill whatever role. Because I think at the end of the day, like I've said before, you just need to play like yourself. And people sometimes get caught up in, oh, well, I'm a 10 or I'm a 6 or I only play off the left. But I think that you just need to play and stay true to the attributes that you have and know your strengths and know your weaknesses. But yeah, I'd say that those are my biggest strengths is just the mentality and technique.
What are you most looking forward to when you get to Vancouver? What are you most looking forward to trying to discover and find out about the city?
So much. I'm really excited to be living near water. I've never really done that. So I'm gonna try and find a place that's pretty close to a beach and just enjoy the whole environment. And yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the team. The guys are great and style of play is very exciting. And I feel like I'm already getting better with each day that goes by, which is the whole purpose of making the move. So no, I'm very, very happy and looking forward to getting to know the city.
Well, thank you for your time today. Can't wait to see you here in Vancouver. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when you come back, albeit briefly, before you're off to Costa Rica. You're clocking the air miles up. It's superb. But welcome to the team, and yeah, look forward to watching you play and what should be another exciting year.
Well, thank you guys very much. Thanks for having me. It's nice to meet you guys.
You too.
Thanks so much, Oliver.
Thanks, Oliver.
Have a good one.
You too.
Oliver's on is here to stay. Oliver's on it on their way.
Oliver Larraz there. Great to have our first chat with him. What a wonderful attitude. Just like listening to him. And I think going over to Europe, having that experience, it's something like we've spoken to so many players over the years, and they all say the same kind of thing of, well, I learned a lot about myself. And I think sometimes when, and I'm not saying this was the case with Oliver, but we've had it with players here. You think of a Bustos or a Kian's Froze. You're the big person, the big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to go and experience
The ocean.
these things.
Yeah.
And once you do, it's eye-opening. And a lot of young players now, they're more confident to go and bet on themselves and go and experience it. And it is one of those things. We've spoken to a couple of players now. Who knows what kind of way their career would have gone, trajectory, if it hadn't been for COVID and stuff. But he's a young lad that he talks well above what you expect maybe from a 24-year-old. His head's really screwed on, and I think it's another great addition, more great scouting by the Whitecaps of bringing somebody with that character and that personality to the club.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way I think the listeners will feel in terms of I'm more excited about the signing now that I've heard from him and these experiences. And I love the part where he talked about, well, in terms of when you asked about what fans can expect when he's on the pitch, but just mentality, technique, and intelligence. Like, yeah, these are all encouraging signs. Plus the fact that it sounds like he is potentially the third player into that midfield now, right? Like he could be the person who rotates in with Berhalter and Kubas, or who fills in suspension or injury or whatever. And so yeah, my question would be, and which I think I asked when we talked about this signing a week or two ago, is what does this mean for other players in the squad like Gando and
Well, Jeevan Badwal as well, who was making that breakthrough. Yes. I mean, the plus point is there's 4 tournaments that they're going to be playing in this year. There's going to be a lot of minutes to go around. But he's bringing this experience. He's played at a high level. Yeah, it wasn't with a good Rapids team for the last couple of years. But like I said there, when the fans are sad to see you go, that's always a good sign.
Oh, absolutely.
And until I was doing the research, I didn't know that in San Diego he played as a right wing back, which is so different to anything else he played. But it's like when we speak to Ralph, you're transitioning then and you're learning a new position, but you can then take all the skills that you learn.
Yeah.
And like, who knows what this season can bring? Fingers crossed it's not the same injury-wise, but you don't know, like, when you have to call upon these guys and what it means. I mean, it might be somebody like JC Ngando is a guy that then moves on because the playing time's not there for him. And it would be sad because of how well he had done last year. But I think when I looked at the stats, in Rapids 2, he had in one season 8 goals and 8 assists. And obviously MLS Next Pro is quite a drop below MLS in terms of quality because teams are approaching it differently. There's a lot of young teams, there's more experienced teams, and you don't know who you're going up against. And he hasn't brought those goals and assists into MLS yet, but this does feel like a Whitecaps team that could maybe unlock that with all the attacking talent you've got. But then you've also then got a guy that understands defensive responsibility as well, as he spoke about.
Yeah, no, it It seems like at this moment, a good two-way signing.
Yeah. Well, we learned a lot about Ollie there, but there's one thing, of course, that we still have to find out. Does Oliver Larraz fancy a chocolate digestive?
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it's unsuggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
Yeah, we always say you're not a Whitecaps player till you do this section on our show. So we do a lot of fun food segments, and we'll do the other ones with you another time. But if you're sitting at home and it's morning, mid-afternoon, you want to have a hot drink, a hot beverage, do you go for a tea, a coffee, something else?
I think it depends on the day. Is it after training or
Yeah, well, let's say you've woken up or it's after training.
okay. I think my go-to would probably be a tea. I'm more of a tea guy than a coffee guy because I'm trying to stay away from the caffeine until I really need it. Everyone says that you need it when you have kids, so I'm gonna wait for that. Um, yeah, I'd say a little peppermint tea maybe with some milk and a little bit of honey.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Like,
yeah.
also, do you have a sweet tooth? If you were going to have your peppermint tea, do you like to have a sweet treat with it, or is your body a temple and you're like you don't go near any of that?
No, I definitely have a sweet tooth, but I like to think that that is my treat. There's honey in it. It's already a little bit sweet, a little bit of milk. It kind of it subdues the sweet tooth that I have, so I don't go and buy a brownie or a cookie or something like that.
Oh man, I wish I had your willpower to do that. The amount of money and dental work that I've had done because of my sweet tooth is like horrific.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it's unsuggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
So he sounds a healthy guy. I envy those. I wish I had been healthier when I was younger. Now, I can't believe, though, that being around all those English and Scottish guys, he didn't go for the chocolate digestive. But there we go. But yeah, good mindset all round. Great to hear him. And as Zach said, it's like I'm the same. I feel more excited about him now, having done that chat. Hope you do too. We'll be back with some more interviews next week. That is it for the Whitecaps chat just now, but we've got more chat to come. We'll be doing our Canadian soccer A to Z and talk about some rule changes that we're going to see in the CPL at the World Cup after a meeting from IFAB this past week. We'll be back with all of that after this episode song from our C86 cassette.
Hi, I'm Oliver Larraz, and you are listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
When idly clutches straws, don't you wish there was something more? There's nothing I can do. I think it's you. And when I get some sense from you, it's already past tense for you. There's nothing I can do to paint the greasy food. Feeling so strange again. Feeling so strange again. I'm in that cage again. And when the tide destroys the swim, the other boy pulls me back in. She said, I can't help you. There's nothing I can do. You make me feel like going spare. You haven't got a thing to wear. There's nothing I can do to paint the greasy blue. Feeling so strange again. Feeling so strange again. Don't crack under the strain.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's this episode's song from the NME C86 cassette that was released in May 1986, celebrating 40 years of that iconic and influential release. That was track 4 from the cassette, a 4-piece band from Romford in Essex, the Wolfhounds, and their song Feeling So Strange Again. The Wolfhounds were a noise pop band, so it was melodic with jangly guitars, lots of like distortion and drumming, kind of a lot of their stuff very much like early Jesus and Mary Chain. They were formed in 1985. They released 4 albums and 7 singles before splitting up in 1990 due to internal differences, but they reformed in 2005 so that they could play a 20th anniversary show for the C86 cassette. They've stayed together ever since, releasing a further couple of albums, the most recent of which was 2020's Electric Music. But we're going to get back to the football chat now, and it's the final part of the show, Zach. It's late for everyone. I think it's time to get our D's out as we bring you the 4th instalment of our Canada Soccer A to Z. And I get to kick off this one, and I'm going with domestic leagues as my D. So, interesting research in this. Now, I'm looking at national domestic leagues as the key focus of it, because obviously there's been lots of provincial leagues or a couple of provincial leagues over the years. The first league in Canada actually started in 1880 in Western Ontario. The Western Football Association was formed. Then the Newfoundland Football League was founded on March 15th, 1896. British Columbia got their first league in 1908 in the Pacific Coast Soccer League. That's in its current 4th iteration of it. It's been, it's gone, it's been, it's gone. It's still running today, albeit a shadow of its former self. But the first one that you could maybe call a National Soccer League, because that was its actual name, was formed in 1926, and it existed to 1997. So I'm counting leagues that cover more than one province. So we talked last week for C of the Connaught Cup, which featured teams from 4 different provinces, but was just a couple of weeks cup competition. So the National Soccer League featured teams primarily based in the provinces of Ontario and Quebec. It was renamed the Canadian National Soccer League in 1993, following the folding of the Canadian Soccer League, more on that in a sec, and then they accepted Winnipeg Fury into the league to make it more national, so you had teams from Manitoba, Ontario and Quebec. From the 40s through to the 60s, Canada had 4 major leagues, but they weren't like truly national. So you had the Pacific Coast Soccer League here in BC, you had the National League of Ontario and Quebec, you had the Eastern Canada Professional League that was established in 1961, and then the Western Canada League that was established in 1963. The Western Canada League was the first ever league to feature teams from originally 3 and then expanding to 4 provinces before it folded in 1971. So it was Alberta and Saskatchewan when it started in 1963. They soon added Manitoba in 1967, and then BC teams, 3 of them came in 1969 and 1970 till its demise. In the 1960s, the National Soccer League was one of the 4 major leagues in Canada. But those leagues were then replaced by the Canadian Professional Soccer League in 1998, which we'll come to in a sec as well. So the 70s, as we know, we had the NASL, but that's not a truly domestic league because it was an American league, albeit one that featured 5 pro teams in Canada, in Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto and Montreal over its existence. The CSA tried to get a domestic national league going in 1983, I don't know if you've heard of this one. The Canadian Professional Soccer League, the CPSL. It was formed in
Yeah, I've heard of it.
1983. It had 6 teams in 3 provinces, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. It lasted 1 season, and that season was just 73 days. So there's the challenges up to that point of having domestic leagues in Canada. And we've spoken about it a lot. It's because of the vastness of the country. It makes it hard for these leagues to succeed on a national basis, which is why there's more regional and more provincial ones. But out of the ashes of the CPSL and the NASL, and on the back of Canada qualifying for the 1986 World Cup, came the most successful one so far, the Canadian Soccer League in 1987. Now, it ran for just 6 seasons, during which 6 provinces were represented through 13 teams. As we know, Vancouver 86ers were dominant in that league. They won 4 of the 6 titles. Calgary Kickers won the first in 1987. Winnipeg Fury won the last one of the 6 titles as well. And I know that's a league you've talked about. You went to see matches in the CSL.
Yeah, I think only the one. But yeah, I was really, really young.
And of course, there is the other CSL, but we don't like to talk about that because they're now a non-sanctioned league after match fixing allegations. But when the CSL originally folded, the CPSL, which was then to become the CSL, came out of the ashes of that with the other regional leagues kind of forming. And we had to wait until 2019 for the next attempt at a Canadian domestic league, the Canadian Premier League. And for the faults you can say about it, for the ups and downs that it's had, at least it's now still going. And it's now the longest running Canadian domestic league that there's been on a national basis.
Yeah.
Truly national basis. Because we had to wait until last year for the first women's domestic league. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to get a national domestic league going in this country that makes it viable. And so many folk still say, oh, it's never going to last. The writing's on the wall. All this stuff with Vancouver FC and Pacific and 6-5, Edmonton going bust, Valor going bust. Folks say it's not sustainable. But here we are going into 2026 and it's still going strong.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that as such a country part of the developing world, or whatever the correct terminology is nowadays, that Canada has been so far behind when it comes to domestic leagues. And it's weird to think that we are kind of at the pinnacle of that for both men and women at this very moment. And yet both have so far to go in so many different respects. And
you look at the current crop of talent, like the women's talent in the 2010s throughout, maybe even just going into the 2010s, was phenomenal, right up there with the rest of the world, top of the world. And they didn't have a place to call home. Now they've got the domestic league as the women's game's kind of taken a dip. And the rest of the world's caught up and overtaken in some cases as well. But, I mean, domestic leagues around the world are hugely important. And I don't know what the answer is, but I do feel some kind of regionalisation is the way to go, like the USL have done with their East and West split. I think that is to make a truly sustainable league. And for it as well, you need fans that can go regularly to away games. And if you have it more regionalised, I think you can get more teams, you can get more fans, and it could be more successful. But, I mean, just that brief history there, that's the challenges that Canada's faced in its history. They've played football here for over 150 years, and we're only now having our first domestic women's league and the longest lasting national league that's going into its 8th season. So that's my D for domestic league. What about yourself?
That's a really good one. I had a little bit of trouble with this. Okay, so I'll give a few honorable mentions. Number one, my first thought with D was Danielle Henry, just because I have a strong appreciation for him. We've had great conversations with him over the years. He has had one of the greatest quotes I think in our time doing media stuff together. You remember that, right? That one time, the preseason where he was just like, I think it was JJ was like, "This is like the worst team or whatever. This is the worst
Oh,
team you've ever seen or
yes.
whatever." He's like, "Dude, I was at Toronto FC for."
Yeah. Oh,
for
forgot about that. I was trying to think what one it was because I was
yeah.
like, he had one as well about like what makes a veteran
Oh yeah, yeah.
and stuff. So I thought that was the one you were talking about. Oh, I
Um,
totally forgotten about
yeah.
that one. Oh, yeah, that was
Anyway,
hilarious.
so shout outs to Danielle Henry. A lot of time, a lot of respect for him, and wish him all the best as he's, I think, doing his coaching. In his coaching career, is he at Peterborough? I want to say. I think somewhere is
He
it somewhere in League
doesn't
One?
he run Simcoe Rovers?
Oh, maybe that's what. Yeah, it's Simcoe. Okay. That was my first D. Another D I thought of was I would just give a shout out to is D for Dome, as in Sky Dome. My first or my second time ever watching the Canadian men's national team was at the Sky Dome Cup in 1995. I went to the Canada Denmark game there, and it's hosted a number of meaningful matches over the year. TFC, I think, in the CONCACAF Champions League. I think they played the Galaxy there. I think they played Liverpool there in friendlies, and it's been used at various times. But yeah, so Sky Dome was another one for me that was kind of big in the history. And then the next one I'll say is De Guzman, as in Julian De Guzman. He's up there, I think second all time in caps. Is that what we were talking about before? He's,
Yeah, I've got that here. Let me just dig it back up. Yeah, so he's second with 89.
89. So
Kyle Larin and Jonathan Osorio are two behind. So I mean, they're going to
they're going to
overtake
overtake
him
him.
pretty
Yeah,
soon.
he only trails Atiba. So
Yeah, 2002 to 2016 was his long established Canadian national team career.
yeah, and one of the reasons I said to Guzman is because yeah, he had a great career in Europe. I mean, the roles he got to play at both Deportivo de La Coruña and in Hanover 96, where he was significant parts of those teams and played really, really well before he came home on a DP contract to play for Toronto FC. And although I don't disagree that he DP money wasn't a horrible thing, I think the DP tag was one of those things where it didn't really help him because I think people were expecting goals and assists and whatever, and he was more of a holding midfielder who would occasionally get involved in that and in the pitch, but it wasn't the bread and butter of his career, and those sides struggled, and he took a lot of heat for that, and now he's making his way in the game in management over at Deadpool New York,
Yeah.
which is really, really interesting.
It,
Um,
his official title, because he was sporting director, but then he became just end of last year head of sport,
yeah.
which is like, is that not the same thing?
I don't know. Maybe Jurgen Klopp told him to go with that naming, that nomenclature. But the other thing for me is why he's special is because when I went to watch Canada, Germany play in Wolfsburg, I think I've told this story before. I'm sure you've heard it before, Michael. But when I went to go watch Canada play Wolfsburg, or Canada play Germany in Wolfsburg at the Volkswagen Arena. Long story short, I didn't have a ticket. I was talking to a dude about buying a ticket from a dude. We were standing away from the ticket window. There was a giant thing of this layout of the stadium. And I was standing there, and Julian's dad and little brother Jonathan walked up, and I was wearing my Canada kit. And Mr. de Guzman was like, "Are you from Canada?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you need a ticket?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got one for you." And so I went and I watched. I sat with them. Gerhard Tremmel was down the road. I listened to Gerhard Tremmel do color and commentary this weekend on a match in the Bundesliga. But
Wow.
I was in the same row as them and watched Canada's unfortunate 4-1 defeat against Germany, but it was a great place to watch it. And then yeah, I think you captained the team on that day. Nick Dasovic, another D, is now the assistant coach out of Vancouver FC, which is kind of exciting. But De Guzman is my last
Hat tip
hat
or
tip.
honorable mention.
The one I'm going with would not be. It's not like my favorite. I know, not my favorite player, not my favorite. Would not be like my personal choice, but I think in terms of we're talking about the width and the breadth and the depth of Canadian football, I think we have to include it in this kind of list, and that is Osaze de Rosario. So no, it's Dwayne De Rosario. I think that Dwayne and his
All the D's.
and his family, I think, have had a huge influence and a huge contribution, massive contributions to Canadian football. Dwayne is, I think, 7th all time on the matches played for Canada, and 3rd all time currently on the goal scoring list. Still, he was a player who showed that you can make a good living if you're quality. You can make a good living in MLS. He was, won titles, won like MVP awards, won Goal of the Year awards, was in All-Star games, all that kind of stuff. He showed you can do it. Obviously, he was huge. Was it with the earthquake, right? Before they moved to Houston, then he was in Houston, and then obviously up to Toronto,
TFC,
and then Deadpool, I think, after that,
yeah,
and DC for a bit or something.
Yeah, and then went back to Toronto for a little spell as well.
Yeah, almost came to Vancouver. Remember all that? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
He was. I think it was Robbo. I think they were looking at bringing him here, and I forget what didn't work out. It might have simply just been the GAM involved required to make it happen, or the the funding of it all. But
I mean, he's won 4 MLS Cups.
Yeah,
that's like crazy.
It is crazy, and I think he was MVP in like at least 2 of them. So he's huge. And without joking, or not, I don't say this joke, but I'm really enjoying Osaze de Rosero's, climbing the North American soccer ladder, if you will. I think he was really good at York or York 9 or York United or whatever it was called when he was there. And it was fun to watch in the CPL. Got to see him here. I think it was his first 2 years of Vancouver FC. I got to see him up close play, and he was threatening. And then he went down to Tacoma, proved himself in MLS Next Pro, and has done damage with Brian Schmetzer's Sounder side in a number of different competitions, including really, I think, it felt to me like making a breakthrough through the League's Cup, which, even though it's not a competition that I personally value, for him, it really, I think, really helped him make a breakthrough so that Brian felt comfortable choosing him in MLS matches. And he's, I think, been a good player for them, and hopefully he'll, his stock will continue to soar there, and he'll continue to progress. And then I forget his name, but he has another brother who's like a keeper at TFC.
Adisa.
Yeah. And then I think, is there not a third?
Well, he's got 4 kids, but I think there's only 2 that are actual soccer players.
Okay. Anyways, so
Osaze, he represents Guyana on the international stage.
Yes. Yeah.
So he won't be following his dad as a national team sort of legend.
No. And that's okay too.
Yeah. Because I mean,
Devin
Hero's 3rd highest all-time scorer for Canada.
Yeah. Devin Rowcliffe, will remember we used to sing a song about him. Maybe not, maybe playing for one of the other countries he could have instead of Canada. When he there was a time where Canada was playing a couple games. One was against Argentina and one was not. And he's like, yeah, I'll play in the Argentina one, but I'm going back to TFC or wherever it was. And we were giving him a hard time about all that.
By 81 appearances for the national team, 7th overall and 3rd highest scorer with 22 goals, which he led for a long time before Lauren and David came along and kind of overtook him.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. You know me, I love a double D. Shout out to my friend Rose if she's listening this week. But yeah, I think they've all been good Ds, and had a few folks say they're really enjoying this section. So if you've anyone to add to that, send them along. We'll be back next week. You'll never guess with what. Yeah, we'll be dropping an E in next week's show. But let's talk a little bit more football to round off the podcast. And we'll kind of keep it with an international flavour, since we're just talking a little bit about a big national team player there. But I mentioned domestic leagues as well. And, of course, the CPL is the most successful national domestic league in Canadian history, about to go into its 8th season. And it could be a very innovative 8th season as well, because it looks like the CPL is set to trial Arsene Wenger's daylight offside rule. It was put to an IFAB meeting in London on Tuesday. So if anyone's not aware, IFAB is the decision makers. It's not FIFA, it's IFAB that decides rules and regulations of the game worldwide. So they had a meeting on Tuesday, and it's been agreed that they're going to move it now forward to the AGM that takes place in Cardiff on February 28th. And if approved, the trial will begin when the CPL kicks off in April. And we're going to see how the referees and officials in the CPL deal with the current offside rule. And I think you need to tell at this point, Zach, the listeners, the wonderful response that you had when I told you about this.
Yeah, and I've seen other people have very similar, but I was like, yeah, how can we? I mean, there's exciting things about this, or exciting possibilities about this, but like, how the heck can we expect CPL officials to implement a new offside, which is going to be more difficult to call than the current one, when they have trouble, implementing the current one? They have trouble getting this one right. It seems like,
and all of it with no VAR.
That's right. Although I don't know if this was, excuse me, I don't know if this was true, but I have heard that maybe this is a path that will lead towards VAR coming to the league. Maybe.
I mean, it might, but it's not going to be this season by what I was just reading this weekend about it.
No, but I have this. Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but there may be this weird idea that FIFA will maybe compensate Canada for trialing this, or the CPL for trialing this, and that would basically help cover the cost of implementing VAR or VAR Lite. But that's total speculation. I haven't verified that or confirmed that with anyone in particular.
Because, Wenger has put this forward, first of all, in 2020. He was appointed FIFA's head of global development in 2019. And a lot of folk, as I kind of touched on at the start, have tipped the former Arsenal coach to become a future FIFA president. And he says the things that please the folk that was going to get all the votes and wants to advance the game. What his proposal is, if anyone isn't fully aware of it, is he says that there should be a complete gap, clear daylight between the attacker and the second to last opposition player for it to be offside. So effectively the last defender, unless the goalkeeper's gone a bit rogue, which can happen, especially in the CPL. Now, critics have said that a daylight offside rule gives too much of an advantage to the attacking team. And it does, but surely this is what FIFA's wanting, because they want more goals.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make it more exciting, particularly for a North American audience going forward. But they want to make the game for younger generations coming through as well. It's like, oh, we want more goals. We want to shed the, oh, football's boring. You've got purists on the one hand that might say, well, we like a tactical 0-0 draw or a 1-0 win or grinding out a result. And I've said to you before, I don't care how you get there as long as you get the victory. And if it's 1-0 every game, so be it. But obviously folk do like entertainment. They like the goals. This will lead to that. But It is for linesmen, assistant referees, to give it proper, it's going to be so hard to know that there's 100% clear daylight when you're just using your eyes and it's not VAR, because they're moving so fast. Is there clear daylight? Is there a leg there? Is there a leg blocking it? It's going to be tough to implement.
Yes. That's why I think this is going to be so difficult for the officials in the CPL. And they I think, rightly take a lot of shtick right now. I can't imagine, this is going to kind of become exponentially more so, right?
I mean, there's going to be controversial moments, but that's why it's a trial. Wenger said after the meeting on Tuesday, we have to try the radical solution first and see if we need to come back from that. So this might not go well, and it might make them revisit the whole thing. As I mentioned, he first suggested it 6 years ago, but so far it's only been kind of used in limited trials and youth soccer. So if it goes ahead, this would be the first senior professional league to do it. And then at the end of the year, the findings from it will get presented back to IFAB. And if successful, they think that it could become law across the world And in terms of the European season for the 2027-28 European season, which would also be the 2027-28 MLS season, I would guess as well.
Yep.
But other leagues are going to be invited, they think, to take part in the trial. And they're saying that is primarily because there is no VAR. They need it to be in a league that's got VAR as well, to see how it works in leagues with no VAR and leagues with VAR. And if you get the same kind of results. Because if you look at England, you've only got VAR in the top flight. So you need to make sure that if they introduce it in the Premier League, it's also going to be fine in the Football League.
Yeah.
And same in Germany, Bundesliga 2 regional leagues. It's got to be something that can work worldwide with or without VAR. And they do need to then have it in a league that has got VAR. So I'm excited to see it. I'll genuinely be honest, I am excited to see it. But I also have a big worry that there could be some really unfortunate teething issues in the first few weeks of it. It'd be nice if the CPL, the CSA, put some referees up to talk about it before the season, actually.
Well, I mean, this has the potential to revolutionize the game, right? Way more goals, but then also ultimately coaches are going to have to figure out a way to defend against this more, right? Which, even though it's meant, my one worry is that even though it's meant to create more opportunities and more goal scoring, is it could make some coaches play even more defensive. Right? Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about, like Basti Shonlo in the first part, how he's a stay-at-home centre-back, maybe not as fast as some of the other ones. Centre-backs like that's days could be numbered because you need to be fast because you can't allow any space for the forward to get past you. And that's going to be tough because you're going up against, like, if you're a centre-back or a last defender back on a one-on-one with Emmanuel Sabi, good luck not letting any daylight between you in a split second for the linesman to try and make a judgment call.
Exactly. Especially with, well, if they did MLS, presumably they would use VAR, but yeah.
Well, if it's only in the CPL, I wonder if it might be in the Canadian Championship as well.
Yeah. You got to feel that gives in theory, maybe an advantage to maybe not, because in theory,
I don't know.
I was going to say, a new thing makes it maybe better for the less, League One Canada sides, right? But yeah, thinking about someone like Sabi with his pace, maybe not so much.
But then there's quick players in the CPL as well, and they would have a chance that they would have been used to playing with it as well. Yeah. So I don't know if you can have a competition where there's technically 3 leagues in the competition and only one of them play with that rule. So I think that would probably rule it out. But I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing this. I think it's an exciting one. And it is going to be interesting to see how certain defenders adapt it. And it'll be something we'll ask defenders over the course of the year, especially in the CPL. But there was some other stuff from IFAB this week that I haven't seen talked about a lot everywhere else. I don't know if you've seen it, you maybe missed this as well. But some of the other things that we're talking about is there's a keen focus now to speed up player behaviour. And we're going to see it now at this year's World Cup. So a countdown is going to be applied for players taking goal kicks and throw-ins.
The final countdown.
Or maybe they're just big fans of the game that we play in our Christmas special. Vowel, please, throw-in taker. So if a player takes too long, the possession's going to switch. So obviously throw-in, it just goes to the other team. But a goal kick would then become a corner. Mirroring the countdown for when a keeper's holding the ball. That has the makings of some shenanigans and controversial moments at the World Cup.
Yeah.
2 other suggestions that's been trialled successfully in MLS are also going to get added to the laws too, and I believe also for the World Cup. And I like these. I think they've been great additions, where it's a 10-second rule for subs. So the sub player has to leave the field within 10 seconds. And if they don't, you've got to wait, I think it's 60 seconds before the sub can then get made. I think that's a tremendous rule. Again, could be interesting at the World Cup, especially for teams that are still trying to get their head around it.
Totally.
And teams from certain parts of the world that like to run down the clock.
Yep.
But likewise, it could hurt minnows who are trying to see out a game if they've maybe got a shock lead or a shock point.
Yeah, there's going to be a significant adjustment to game management for sure.
The other MLS rule that they're adopting is players who go off injured will have to stay off for an extended period. How long, though, is still to be confirmed. So it's been trialled in the Premier League, where players have to go off for 30 seconds, and I feel that's too short. And MLS, where they have to stay off for 2 minutes, which I feel is too long. So I think, for me, the Goldilocks time would be a minute.
Yeah. So are those two happening this summer?
They've been adopted, and I believe I read it was going to be at the World Cup.
Okay, because I know the countdown one is happening at the World Cup. Right? Yeah.
Because there's two other things which are also going to be happening at the World Cup, and it's around VAR. VAR will now review all corner kicks before they're taken at the World Cup, because they feel that the cameras there's enough of them, and that they've got ball technology so that they can do this without delaying the match, which I'm really not sure about.
Yeah. Well, they have to have goal line technology, which...
But
MLS,
they will, because...
they have to. As the World Cup, you have to have goal line technology, which, MLS should just have it permanently left in those stadiums that are MLS stadiums, which is it just Seattle at this point? I think it might be. BMO.
BMO and
NBC Place in Atlanta. Yeah, okay. So those four, just keep it in there. But anyways,
that'd be wonderful.
No, this makes total sense, and we've seen the reason they're doing this is because things have actually happened where teams are getting really, really upset because they can see on the replay very easily that it wasn't a corner. Corner takes place, and then either directly or indirectly, or in the follow-up play to a corner, they get scored on, and they're like.
I would expand it to free kicks as well in and around the box.
Yeah.
Because there was a controversial one in the Hearts-Celtic game today where I think the guy threw himself to the ground, the Celtic player. Celtic got a free kick, scored, that took the lead in a huge top-of-the-table game. And VAR can't do anything about that. So, I mean, if you're going to do it for corners, do it for free kicks in and around the box, and I think as well.
The second thing makes total sense too, because I've seen this happen lots as well.
Yeah, so VAR is going to overrule second yellow cards when they are clearly wrong, but they won't review possible second yellow card offences. So if the referee's missed it and not given it, they're not going to re-referee the game. But if the referee's given a second yellow and you're looking at it and you're like, that is not a yellow card.
I think we're going to see a lot of those.
Yes.
A lot.
I can't remember the team. It might have been Dallas, but it was, maybe it was San Diego. No, it wasn't San Diego. But there's a team the Whitecaps played in the playoffs. So it must have been Dallas. And someone got sent off for a second yellow, and it was really harsh for them.
Well, some people would say that about Blackman's against LAFC as well.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, I saw this in a game recently, I think in the Bundesliga, where I was just like, everyone's like, oh, that second yellow is not a yellow. And then when you watch it slow and you're like, yeah, if you could see this. And then they were like, but VAR can't look at this. So
yeah. So as much as I hate VAR, this is using VAR to good effect.
Yeah.
As long as it's quick, especially for the corner one. And you know how long it can sometimes take to get a corner taken as well. So, I mean, there's that aspect of it. I mean, I'm a traditionalist. I don't like change for change's sake, but I'm a traditionalist that's open to good change that's going to make the game better. I don't think VAR's made the game better in general, but little things like this, I think would. So let us know your thoughts. I still feel they need to do something about players going down with head knocks. I was actually listening to a podcast last week where someone else was complaining, a former player was complaining about that. And I think they do need to look at that and have what they have in rugby, where the trainer can come on and attend while the game continues going on. So let us know your thoughts on those rules, how you feel it's going to be, especially if you're a CPL fan, how you think that's going to work in the CPL. But that is pretty much it for this episode of the show. We'll finish, though, with this episode's Wavelength, this section of the show where we play a song all about football or with a backdrop of football. And for the first half of the year, we're playing songs all about the World Cup, past, present, maybe future. And I mentioned at the start of the year, when we were going to be doing this, that a lot of the songs will be for the Scottish national team, the English national team, maybe some of the other home nations, Ireland as well, just because that's the countries that produce so many of the World Cup songs, with the benefit of them also being in English. But we've got a wide variety that we are going to bring you over the coming weeks and months. But I'm going to feature a song that I've been keeping for a little while to play in Wavelength, waiting for the right time, and this is the absolutely perfect time. It's a song for the Republic of Ireland, set with the backdrop of the 2002 World Cup, and in particular, a very famous or infamous incident that actually took place before the World Cup kicked off in Japan and South Korea. There was a very public argument in May 2002 between Republic of Ireland's head coach, Mick McCarthy, and the team captain, Roy Keane. The Irish team were preparing in Saipan, the island in the Northern Marianas, for their matches in Japan ahead of the 2002 World Cup, a tournament that saw Ireland finish second in their group before going out at the first knockout stage. It ended the argument with Roy Keane, who was such a key player for the Irish team, getting sent home from the squad, sent home from the World Cup, and really creating a big divide in the fans of the team. Some backed McCarthy, some backed Keane. And it kind of all boiled down to Roy Keane, who, if everyone knows Roy Keane, if you watch him on the Overlap and see him on Sky Sports, he's not a shy, retiring figure. If he feels there's an issue, he's going to speak about it. And he did, where he felt that the preparations for the Irish side just weren't right. There's a few incidents that led to it. It all came to its head in Saipan. And Keane had done some interviews with Irish journalists that got printed. Mick McCarthy went apoplectic about what was said in it, challenged Roy Keane in a team meeting, and McCarthy accused Roy Keane of faking an injury and missing a game against Iran in the playoffs. Keane then apparently unleashed a verbal tirade against McCarthy, calling him a liar, a fucking wanker, telling him that he didn't rate him as a player, didn't rate him as a manager, didn't rate him as a person, and telling him that he could stick the World Cup up his arse. And as you can imagine, that didn't go very well with McCarthy, sent Roy Keane home, and the incident made headlines in the UK and Ireland. Not sure how much it made over here, but it's such an infamous incident that it's all been turned into a film. And the film got its debut at the Toronto Film Festival back in September last year, got its official cinematic release on Boxing Day in Ireland last year, and it's just been released in the UK on January 23rd. I cannot wait to see it. By all accounts, it's an absolutely magnificent film. Steve Coogan is playing Mick McCarthy in it, which in itself is going to be absolutely tremendous. So looking forward to that. The film is called Saipan. So that brings us to this episode's Wavelength. And it's by an Irish band from Dublin called the Gunnells. And it's a song that featured on the 2012 album, Sing Up for the Boys in Green, which is just a collection of songs all about Ireland's history in World Cup, other tournaments, and looking ahead to Euro 2012. This is the Gunnells. Come back to Saipan.
I lost my job watching Robbie Keane score. What's his namesake took tricks for another walk. I drank so much I couldn't stand. My boss just grabbed me by the hand, but I knew what I had to say. Please listen, 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 listen. Come back to Saipan. Oh, come back to Saipan. You might explain to a man about the youngest at hand. 'Cause your beady eyes are staring. Oh, your beady eyes are shouting. The noise was deafening, our throats were hoarse. Then eerie silence meant the air to score. The winning penalty and all, the whole country started to board. But if you're there to take a pen instead of kill back, come back to Saipan. Oh, come back to Saipan. We might explain to a man without your guess at hand. 'Cause your beady eyes were staring. Oh, your beady eyes were shouting. Oh, come back to Saipan. Oh, come back to Saipan. We might explain to a man without your guess to hand. 'Cause your beady eyes were staring. Oh, your beady eyes were shouting. Come back to Saipan, back to Saipan, back to Saipan, back to Saipan.
Fantastic stuff there from Irish band the Janelles, Come Back to Saipan. Absolutely fantastic song. Can't wait to see the film, as we talked about there. If anyone did happen to see it at the Toronto Film Festival, let me know what you thought about it. Would love to hear that. But can't wait to see it when eventually it gets released here or comes out on DVD. So that is it now for the show though, Zach. Just before we go, any final thoughts from you? Any shout-outs that you want to give this week? Anything that's caught your eye this week?
Yeah, I think we got a couple of birthday shout-outs. One from the online Whitecaps community. I think his Twitter, and I know his Twitter handle's maybe not loved by others and not by some, but I think his Twitter handle, if I'm not wrong, is high on caps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was his birthday this weekend. So shout-outs to him. And then also today, of course, was Marty's birthday.
Marky McDermott.
Yeah.
Just because you talk Martin Nash as Marty, so
Oh,
we've got
sorry.
to clarify.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, friend of the show, the Whitecaps.
Whitecaps, the equipment manager.
Yes. Best kit man. I don't think I mentioned this in the show. Tops did a special card for the kit men in MLS this year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I saw
Yeah,
that.
so Marty's got a Tops card, which he was absolutely buzzing about. So, yeah, happy birthday to Marty.
Shout outs to them. Something which I've been keeping an eye on, I don't think we've talked about, but I've been keeping an eye, and I'm sure many other people have as well, just to get ready for February. I've been watching the Cartago matches in the Costa Rican League, and I think
is it Cartago? I thought it was Cartinez, or
they're called Cartago. They're from a community called Cartago. I think I might have to maybe just tweak some of the things I've said about them, because I basically have told you, and I think I've said on the podcast, like the Whitecaps should. I mean, they struggled a little bit with Saprissa, right? Saprissa obviously won the home leg, and then kind of he gave it the 2 goals at BC Place and at the crossbar, whatever. It was one of the stiffest challenges the Whitecaps faced in that tournament. But that's not true. All the Mexican teams were actually quite hard. But Cartago, I think I said, the Whitecaps shouldn't be a problem. I mean, don't look past them, but shouldn't
Yeah,
be.
I put all my retirement savings on the game based on your
Well,
information.
Cartago has come out in the Clausura like gangbusters. So they won, I think it was, I can't remember, it was 3-1, I think, and then 2-1 in their first two games. But their third game was midweek this week on Wednesday, and they were playing at home, but they beat Liga de Alajuelense. It was only a 1-0 game. If you just look at the box scores, you're like, oh, not that big a deal. But I've watched the highlights of the game, and I think they had at least two goals ruled out for offside, maybe a third as well. But anyways, they were well worth their victory over the current champs in Liga de Alajuelense, who are that team that gets the bye into the next phase of the CCC this year. And that put them at the top of the Clausura, and they are right now less than 20 minutes away, because I have the second half here on a screen. They're 20 minutes away from claiming an away point at the Monsters Cave to go solo at the top of the table with 10 points, 3 wins and a draw. They're right now it's a goalless draw against Poppy's side down.
And it's one of those games as well. You're playing a team that's already in season form because they've got competitive games under their belt.
They're looking better than they did in the, because I think it was a third last year in the Clausura earlier this year, and they're looking even better. So yeah, the Whitecaps. I know obviously the analysts are looking at all these things and figuring out for Jesper and his side, but their form looks much better than I would have thought, especially with these big games at the beginning of the year, where they've had Liga at home so far and now Saprissa away. Now this game.
Thanks for cheering us up at the end of the show.
No, but just want to be like, hey, it might be a little bit of a stiffer challenge than I originally thought, especially if they kind of keep on this form. Now this game isn't over. Like I said, there's about 15, 17 minutes plus stoppage time left, and it could go either way.
You have to let me know where you're watching these games. I'll do a little bit of reconnaissance on them before the game. I was just on a podcast I recorded. It's not out yet, the Designated Players podcast, and I was saying, I fancy us to get past Miami in the semis, get to another final.
No, the Whitecaps should beat them. I just think it's going to be a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be, especially if they're.
That's good though. You do want a good challenge at the start of the year, as long as you get through it. And I think Saprissa, it was such a tough challenge. It set the Whitecaps up.
Oh yeah,
so well for what was to come.
Yeah, and I mean for Cartago, it'll be. I mean, just playing an MLS side is big. If you can beat a side that Saprissa went out to the year before, and a side that was in the final the year before, again, it's that extra motivation or inspiration for them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, we'll see how this game ends. We'll see how they do in the next couple of matches. But yeah,
I want to go to Spokane.
Yeah, who doesn't? I would.
Caitlin doesn't.
I forget. Do we know which day that one's on? Is that on a Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah. See, the Wednesday is going to be difficult for Spokane for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll finish with a little bit of East 5 chat. Haven't mentioned that for a while.
Is this what you sent me?
Yeah, we're mid-table at the moment. We're sixth out of the 10 teams. It should be comfortable. We've had injuries this year akin to the Whitecaps, but not with the squad depth or numbers that the Whitecaps have had. So it's been testing, to say the least, especially not having a striker for the last 4 games. So we're on a 6-game losing run. We've scored the least amount of goals in the league. We've got the joint worst goal difference in the league. But we're sitting 6th. We're still in touch with the playoff places. But we're also 8 points above the relegation playoffs as well. So after an absolute thumping yesterday against Queen of the South 5-1 at home, I've spoken about our manager, Dick Campbell. In Dick we trust. He's a man in his early 70s. Some folk would describe him as a bit of a dinosaur. And I saw one person today describing him as everything that's wrong with Scottish football.
Oh, my.
So he was asked about the defeat in East 5 TV. And this was his quote after the 5-1 defeat. When he was talking about the defending. The defending had fuck all to do with the manager, he said.
Oh, my.
that's one way to get your dressing room on your side. I mean, I sent you a video of the third goal.
Yes.
And he has a point.
He does.
It's one of the worst own goals you're ever going to see.
Shockingly bad.
I should put that up on Twitter or on Blue Sky for folk to see it. It's a horrendous own goal. We've got a new keeper as well that was meant to be a backup keeper, but our keeper that was Scotland's under-21 keeper went back to his parent club. Our backup, who was also capable of starting, is now injured. So we've got this guy in and he's dreadful. And the whole team's dreadful just now. But it's okay. We got one of our strikers back. Our leading scorer, Alan Troughton, sent off for an absolutely horrendous tackle that's going to get him a 3-game ban. So Wales are coming off down Bayview Way. So I can't wait for the Whitecaps to get back to have something fun to talk about in a podcast. But that is it for this episode of the show. We'll be back with another one next weekend. We'll have 2 games to talk about by that point as well. We'll look forward to the CONCACAF Champions Cup that's kicking off. And we'll have some more interviews to bring you as well. Until then, stay safe, everybody, wherever you are. Stay warm as well. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other. And mon the Caps.
When you're listening on some far-flung corner of the globe to the World Service of a Saturday afternoon, crackly reception, interference, cosy, marvellous. Somehow comforting, isn't it? You know, legendary names, fathers and sons on the terraces, cheesy peas at half-time, pint for dad, mum's at home making the tea. Oh, everything's all right with the world, isn't it? Saturday afternoon is football.